Okay, let's go over how to use the Google Keyword Planner tool. So once you're logged into your AdWords and you're on your home screen, you're going to want to click on Tools and then scroll down to Keyword Planner. That's going to take you over to the tool. It may take it a few seconds to load. AdWords can be a little bit slower than other programs, so just be ready for that. And once there, we're going to search for new keywords using a phrase. And for this example, I'm going to use pest control since we're on that already. And I'm going to make sure United States is selected, English, Google, and not Google and search partners. Make sure it's just Google. I'm not going to input any negative keywords, and this is completely optional, but I like to always do a suggested bid that's less than the payout of the affiliate offer, which in this case is $7. And then I'm going to click on Save, and then I'm going to click on Get Ideas. And you should see something like this. So if you're following along in the example and you're in your keyword planner and you type in pest control and all the settings, suggested bid less than or equal to $7, you should end up with results that look similar to this. Now, if you notice, there's only 48 keywords, and that's probably because of the the suggested bid filter that I put in there. And I didn't want every keyword in the book. There's usually like several hundred. What I'm trying to do is get keyword ideas and also find low competition as well as low bids. Because if I can find a decent amount of volume on a keyword, which by the way, this is the monthly average volume, so 110,000 monthly searches done on the word ant. And it's low competition, but it's also not very intent driven, meaning not very many people are going to dial the phone from this. So it's a lower bid, yes, but I'd have to probably pay more for a call because of the low intent. So what I'm looking for is a decent keyword over here, which we'll cover in a second, and I want to check to make sure it has some kind of volume, decent mid to low competition preferred, and then suggested bid I want to be somewhat lower than what the payout is. That way I make sure I can get profitable on my campaign. Okay, so first let's take a look at the keywords here and go over the mindset of how I want to start picking out my keywords. If you notice, I started with a very basic word, very basic phrase, pest control, and obviously pest control is going to be extremely high competition, lots of searches, but still not as high intent as it could be. And if you look here, the suggested bid is way out of our price range if we're trying to get under that $7 so that we can stay profitable and get profitable on our ads. So what I like to do is first sort by competition just to see what's low and what's medium. And we notice fire ants, how to kill ants. Okay, so what's better for intent, fire ants or how to kill ants? Obviously how to kill ants, and that's 9,900 average monthly searches. The competition is low. Look at that suggested bid, it's really low. So this is an ideal keyword here, how to kill ants. Whereas a bad example of a keyword that we would want, or excuse me, a good example of a keyword we would not want to put into our campaign would be pest control providers. Even though it's high intent, there's only 10 average searches monthly, and it's medium competition. There's not even a bid listed, so we have no idea how much this is going to cost. Even though it's high intent, it's very low volume, and the competition's higher than I'd like it to be. But this keyword list also gives us ideas that we can tap into instead of just general words and phrases like pest control. We've got different types of pests that we can put in. So we've got fire ants, we've got termites. And so what I want to do is go back up in here, and instead of pest control, I'm going to type in fire ants and see if I can find some good keywords with some good intent. Now, as I'm in the low competition, you can see the monthly search volume is very low. So I'm going to sort by search volume now and see if I can find anything here. Again, there's the how to kill ants, 9,900 searches low. That's a great keyword there. And here's another good one, how to get rid of sugar ants. So now it's a different type of ant, 6,600 searches, low competition, even lower cost per click on the suggested bid. How to get rid of ants in the house, 5,400. It's medium and it's $3.21, but that could be a very good keyword based on the intent. It's worth checking out, it's worth testing and trying, especially at 5,400 monthly average searches. That's great. Now you don't always have to worry about the intent straight away, because we've got other keyword tools later on in the training like Ubersuggest and SEMrush that can help you pull out more targeted and long tail keywords from these keywords But this keyword planner rather, is a great way for you to get different ideas on different types of insects for pest control instead of just using general terms like pest control service, or the brands of pest control such as Terminix, Orkin, that kind of direction. And so with this direction, we get to choose different insects and find that there's search volume and that there are people with problems where they desperately want to get rid of the ants that are in their house or the termites that are in their house. Now, once you have your keywords, or you have a good collection of keywords that you want to grab so you can filter out, all you have to do is click on Download Ideas, and you can download via a CSV, or you can even save to your Google Drive. And that's it for using the Google Keyword Planner tool. Okay, so now we're going to talk about broad match modifier, exact match, and phrase match, how to use them, and how to create them. So the first up is broad match, and as you can see here by the example chart, broad is going to be formal shoes, which is going to match, in that example, all different types. It's extremely broad, as it implies. Now, broad match modifier is where things tighten up a little bit, and all you have to do is put a plus in front of each word, and we'll cover how to do that in a little bit. But I want you to get the concept of why this tightens up. So in the example of the formal shoes, you can see as long as the word shoes has the plus in front of it, nothing will show up unless the word shoes is there. So you can see evening shoes, black dress shoes. To keep that example going, it would be brown dress shoes, purple dress shoes, purple shoes, red shoes, big shoes, little shoes, as long as the word shoes is in there, because shoes has the plus sign, and so that's broad match modifier. Now, if, for example, formal shoes both had a plus, the formal had a plus and the shoes had a plus, then it would require both formal and both shoes to be in the search string or search query for the result to show. Now, on exact match, it gets really tight because it has to match exactly. So someone would have to type in this case, formal shoes, exactly as it shows. Now, phrase match is a little bit up from that, where it'll match different phrases around formal shoes. So black formal shoes for men, anything that has formal shoes as part of a phrase. Where do I get formal shoes? What kind of formal shoes should I buy? And those are just a couple of examples of phrase match. So now that we know the differences between them, I'm going to make sure you have a keyword cheat sheet here. That way, anytime you need to, at a glance, you can see exactly what's what between broad match modifier, phrase match, exact match. And on this cheat sheet, you'll notice there's an additional entry, which is negative match, and that's just negative keywords, which we do cover in a later section. So let's talk about when to use what. So broad match is any search term that has more than 4 words, or 4 words or more. Basically, anything that has 4 words or more is considered long tail keyword, and you don't want to be doing broad match because long tail keywords are pretty specific. Broad match modifier you want to use on 3 words or less to make sure that you get that tight grouping around the intent of your keyword. Phrase match is going to be based on results from search queries, which we cover in a later training. And the same goes for exact match, again based on results from the search queries, and we're going to be covering that later. So now we know what broad match modifier, phrase match, and exact match are. We know when to use them in our keywords. Now we're going to cover actually how to create them. Now the first tool I'm going to show you is actually called Merge Words. It's in the tools and resources. All you have to do is bookmark the site. It's a really cool site, and I'll show you why as we go through it here. So you can see I've typed in broad match modified just to show you what a broad match modified example would look like. So if you scroll down just a bit, you'll see exactly where, once I hit the merge button, the results will be showing down here. Before I do that, I want to hit extra options, and you can see it gives me an option to put nothing as a separator, a space, a minus, a plus. I can wrap it in quotes or brackets. And so for broad match modifier, it being the plus, I'm going to put the plus there. and then I'm going to click merge, and you notice it instantly populates the result broad match modified with the plus sign in front of each keyword. So now I can just copy paste this over to an Excel sheet or a Google sheet, and I've got my list of keywords. So this is very helpful for when you're combining keywords. Now to cover exact match, I'm going to show you an example of what exact match looks like. So instead of plus, I'm just going to put exact match, and I'm going to put the brackets there. And I'm going to click merge, and you can see creates exact match. Now let's do phrase match, just to wrap things up here. Quotation marks, click merge, and you see phrase match. So very easy tool to work with. It's very handy as well for creating those keywords in the different formats that you'll need. And broad match, keep in mind, is just the keyword itself, no quotations, no brackets, no plus signs, just the keyword. That's considered broad match. Here's the other broad word keyword converter, or the broad keyword converter, I should say. I always like to call it the broad match modified keyword tool, even though that's more than a mouthful. It's very useful because all you have to do is copy paste keywords. So if you wanted to copy paste from the keyword planner tool in Google, you could do that, and I just put one keyword in here just so you can see the example. Make sure you select all words and then click on generate modified, and it'll generate the list for you. You can now just copy paste it into Excel or into Google Sheets. Very handy tool for the broad match modified. Alright, now we're going to cover how to do it in Excel or in Google Sheets. I prefer using Google Sheets as explained in the tools and resources, but you're going to be able to do this in either or Excel or Google Sheets because they both are based off of formulas inside of Excel. So this works out really well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take out the pluses so I can show you the example here. Now, there's a find and replace option on Excel, and I believe it's Control F. I could be wrong. In Google Sheets, the find and replace is going to be Control H. So I click Control H, and this is what pops up. Find something and replace it with. And so what I want to do is make sure that column is selected. So these would be all my keywords. Let's say I copy pasted these from the keyword planner or from one of the keyword tools we'll be covering in the next few videos. And what I want to do is I want to find a space, so I hit the space bar, and I want to replace it with a space and a plus. And I hit replace all, and you can see it turns all of my keywords into the plus in front of the keyword with exception to the first word. So now all we have to do is enter the formula in, and the formula goes like this. In the next column over, we just start with the equal sign, and we do a quotation set. We make sure the plus symbol is in between, and then we add an ampersand and the column and the row before it. Now once I type the column and the row before it, the cell before it, A1 in this example, you can see what pops up is going to be the end result, which is exactly what I want. I want the plus in front of that broad. And so once I hit enter, now I have my keyword set for broad match modified. And the nifty little thing here is this little square. If I click and drag it down, it'll do it for all the keywords. So all I have to do is click and drag all the way down and let go, and then all of my keywords are now broad match modified using the Excel formula. So again, that Excel formula is up here. If you see that, equals, quotation mark, plus, end quotation, ampersand, and then the column and row before it. So if I'm over here in B1, I'm going to pull A1. And then instead of having to enter the formula in each time, you just click the little blue box and drag down, and it will apply that same formula to all of these cells. And that's everything you need for broad match modified, exact, and phrase keywords. Now let's dive into some of the platforms we're going to be using to get our keywords. And it's actually more than just a keyword platform. It's a research tool for pay-per-call only ads, and it's one of the only ones that I've found that's specific to pay-per-call only ads. So it's very useful like that. And I'm just going to type in, with our example, pest control. I'm going to search the USA, and you can see Google returned 6,720 results. Now, not all of these are going to be accurate, but a lot of them are. So anything to do with pest control, and you can see here, based on the main keywords, which ones are which. Now, over here to the right, you can see the ability to sort by click-through rate, and so we do want to sort by high click-through rate. And I'm just going to go through each of these columns here. Days seen means this is how many days that this ad has been seen. The last time it was seen in this case was August 19th, and the first time it was seen was November 11th on 2015. And so if we look at the ad, obviously we get the ad copy. One of the great things about what ads work is once you click on the ad itself, you can see all those details, exactly what phone number it goes to if you want to give that a call and see if there's some kind of an IVR that you can copycat, if you will, or if it's going to a particular service. Maybe you don't know exactly which service that's going to in San Diego. Maybe you want to give that a call and find out. But you also get access to download all of the different keywords. And here in green, this is the important part. Here in green, these are the money-making keywords for this particular ad. So everything you see here are the money makers. This is where the money is made on the keywords here. And you can see a lot of these keywords are actually pretty pricey. And we're going to go into how to get those prices down. But obviously we need keywords to be able to start with. And so this is a great way for you to just grab a lot of keywords at once. And they're going to be very targeted based on the research that you're doing. Sometimes you won't find any examples based on your niche, and that's okay, because what that means is the market is probably wide open and not many people, or any at all, are promoting using pay-per-call. They might be using regular AdWords ads, just not pay-per-call. And so that's one of the reasons why I really love this tool. It shows me exactly what's going on in the pay-per-call only space, or the call only ad space I should say, in AdWords. You can see there are a lot of top keywords at the top, and these top keywords are obviously going to produce a lot of results for you, so these might be some good niches to go into. As an example, I always prefer home services, as I've recommended to you in past videos, but if you're more comfortable running lawyer offers or something along the lines of debt or payday loans, plumbers, divorce lawyers, I'm totally okay with you running whatever you need to run to be in your wheelhouse. And something else I like to do is always record the ad copy that I find on what ads work. And I usually record the best and the high. I sort by highest click-through rate, and then I grab a few really good lines from line 1, line 2. And this is the ad format where you've got the title of the ad, line 1 and line 2. And then I create my own ad copy based on that. And I always make sure there's a record of that somewhere, so that way I can go back to my research and say, okay, this is what other people were having success with. I notice there's a $55 savings here in this ad, 100% pest guarantee. But I also noticed no one was using a question, and questions are very powerful, especially if it's something about being infested. So this ad pulls really good quality leads. Anyway, I just figured I'd recommend you copy and pasting the ad copy somewhere in a Google Sheet. Keep reference on it. You can see here I put down the campaign numbers from Ring Partner. You can see I put Ring Partner there, pest control. So I've got this very organized and laid out. That way I can go back to it at any time and look at even the keywords that I formatted for the different campaigns that I run. That's one of the reasons why I love Google Sheets so much, is because this is in the cloud and I can access this from my phone, from my Chromebook, from my laptop, from someone else's laptop, from the public library. As long as I can log into Google from the internet, I have access to all of my keyword research and campaigns and can run my business from anywhere. Alright, so that's it for What Ads Work. If you need a tutorial on how to use the platform other than what I've just given you, obviously you can click this button here and get a little bit more specific training on how to use the other columns. We only focus in this training on the pay-per-call or the call-only ads section because that's the only reason we're using this entire platform. And that's What Ads Work. so here we are with the SpyFu platform, and I really love SpyFu because again, it's not just a keyword tool. It gives you a lot of insight as to what the market will bear for your particular niche. And so, sticking with the pest control example, I'm going to type in a competitor of pest control, and if you need to find competition or sites that relate to your keyword, a quick Google search will help you find some of the main competitors. And since I've already done that, I know it's going to be Terminix.com, Orkin.com, the main providers of pest control service. Some of the biggest providers in the United States are going to be Terminix and Orkin. And so when I type Terminix.com into SpyFu, it gives me a lot of information about their organic as well as their paid. And so you can see here they're spending somewhere in the neighborhood of 48, probably around 50 grand um, a day for their clicks through AdWords, which sounds like a lot. So obviously, if one company is spending that much money, they're making a lot of headway into the research, let's call it, of what's going to be profitable, and they're also going to be targeting their organic stuff, which is their free stuff, their free search and keywords, to get as much as they can out of that without having to pay. So if you do the math here, let me show you, for example, they've got 13,000 keywords, they're getting around 50,000 clicks, and they're spending about 300 or so thousand dollars, which is actually about $10,000 a day. I misspoke on that earlier. It's not 48,000, $50,000. That's 50,000 clicks. So 50,000 clicks for 10 grand a day. If you take a look though at their organic keywords, the ones that they're ranking for the best, especially with their own brand name, is 14,800 clicks just from their SEO position on Terminix, their own name. So that's, I'd say, between this and most of their top keywords, they've probably doubled their click rate. So they're paying for about 50,000 clicks a month Okay, this is one of my favorite tools because it's one of the most creative keyword tools that exists, and there's several out there that are like it. Ubersuggest is just my preference for this type of tool. So what Ubersuggest does is it takes a keyword that you enter, which we're going to enter in pest control, and while it works, I'll explain fully what it's going to do. It's going to go to Google and actually type in pest control and then grab all of the suggestions that pop down in Google. So as I scroll down here, you see it's 100% complete. It did not take long. It found 359 keywords. Now it puts them in alphabetical order, and check this out. I end up with all kinds of cool keywords like pest control services. That's okay. Pest control near me. Ooh, that's a good keyword. That sounds something like you would say to your mobile phone. Okay, I've got pest control in certain locations. Obviously, these are countries I don't want to target because my offer for pest control is US based. Pest control products, and I'll keep scrolling down. Pest control ants, different types of insects. There's another idea for running different campaigns. Pest control in my area. There's another mobile suggestion. These are so great. If you dig through these, take the time and dig through these keywords and pull out these gems, you'll be able to get much higher intent keywords for your campaigns based on just pest control. And again, pest control is just a very general keyword. When we start to drill down and get more specific, for example, we start going the insect route and we do fleas, the intent's going to be much, much higher. Fleas in house, fleas on cats, fleas bites, fleas in bed, fleas on dogs, fleas in ticks, fleas in carpet, fleas on people. Lots of higher intent keywords, but not quite the intent we want just yet. And so we're going to go up to the top, and now we're going to type in get rid of, and you can see we have 302 searches based on get rid of fleas. So get rid of fleas in yard, on cat, on dog, in house. Are all of these much higher intent? Get rid of fleas in bed, get rid of fleas fast, get rid of fleas on puppy. Naturally, probably not, because if you're calling a pest control company, they may have some natural methods, but not necessarily. A lot of them use chemicals, and knowing that, every keyword that's listed here, with the exception of that one, actually has a pretty significant intent, significantly high intent, I should say, for ordering pest control service. And so get rid of is a great intent phrase. And don't forget, we can also use the brand name. So if we type in Terminix, you're going to get all the keywords that have Terminix in them. And some of these won't make sense to use, but some will, such as Terminix estimate, Terminix free estimate, Terminix fumigation. Now that brings up another word that I can use. Instead of saying pest control, maybe I use the word fumigation. And so I come up here and I go fumigation. And now I return all the words that have fumigation in it. Fumigation services, fumigation process, fumigation companies, fumigation for bed bugs. Now I've got, fumigation for ants, fumigation for hornets, fumigation for bees, fumigation for termites, you name it. Fumigation bombs, fumigation and pest control. So there's a lot of keyword ideas that can come from using Ubersuggest, and that's just in the couple of minutes I've been showing you as an example. We started from pest control, just to review. We found in pest control, we found keyword ideas around different types of insects like ants and fleas. And then we saw around those specific keywords, we saw things like get rid of. And so once we type that in and some of the insects like get rid of fleas, then we came back with results on like fumigation as an example, and that's a whole nother keyword set and campaign that we can run based on the word fumigation. And now you know why Ubersuggest.io is one of my favorite suggest keyword tools to use. Now we're covering SEMrush, and I have to tell you, out of all the tools, if there was only one tool that I could use that was a paid tool, like all the free tools obviously we can use no problem because they're free, but if there was one paid tool that I absolutely had to have, it would be SEMrush. And that's because most everything that you need is here, with the exception of the call only ads copy that you can find in What Ads Work, and maybe a little bit of different information or cross information that's not available on SEMrush that is available on platforms like SpyFu and What Ads Work when it comes to the keywords. However, SEMrush keyword research is actually very in-depth, and it's great for what we use in our call-only ads campaigns. So let's start with the understanding that SEMrush is a pretty broad platform for you to work from. They do a lot with SEO, and so very little SEO is being used for this process and these strategies. We're using SEMrush more for the keyword side, and so if you want a full training, SEMrush actually has people that will walk you through the entire platform. You can set up an appointment with them as soon as you come on board. They'll probably be reaching out to you as soon as you come on board anyway. I highly recommend that you do the walkthrough just because there's a lot to learn that can help you in other areas of your business, especially if you're doing anything with SEO on the Qzx side. But for our purposes, I'm just going to show you how we use SEMrush specifically for call-only ad campaigns. And so we start at the dashboard once we're logged in, and I'm just going to type in again terminix.com, and it's going to show me all the results in Google US, and I'm going to make sure that mobile is selected. And as I scroll down, you can see organic search, and this is the list of organic keywords that I'm most interested in. You can see there's 12,822, and so I'm going to actually open this report in a new tab, and we're going to go take a look at this really quickly. So if you can see, we're under domain analytics and positions. Make sure that mobile is selected. And as I come down here, I can actually sort keywords and filter out keywords that I know are going to be harder to rank for if I'm going the SEO route, which I'm not, or higher cost. So you can see some of these costs are ridiculous. I'm not going to pay that much per click. And even though the volume is high, it's way too high for me to make a profitable campaign. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that all these filters filter out cost per click, and I'm going to say less than, and let's say $7 to start. I'm going to add another filter, and I'm going to make sure the competition is actually low. I want the competition to be less than, let's say, 70%. SEMrush recommends 60%, but I'm going to go 70% because, again, I'm not focused on SEO. I just want to see the lower competition keywords via SEO because that usually means that there's also going to be lower bids. Now keep in mind, I can also add in negative keywords, so include or exclude keywords if I find some keywords as I scroll down. Maybe there's some keywords in here that I don't want to see. For now, I don't see any of those, so I'm going to get rid of that. But just keep in mind, this is where you can add some negative keywords to get better results. And so I'm going to apply those filters. I end up with a list of keywords. You can see I'm going to sort by cost this list, and there's a misspelling of Terminix. And look, the volume is 18,100 searches, and this is per month averaged out over the last 12 months. You can see the competition is low, the cost is $3.33, and this is 2.5% traffic for Terminix. That's amazing. This is a great little keyword here. Here's another good one, ant infestation, 1,900 volume every month. Is that a problem? Is that a high intent if someone's infested? Absolutely. They want to take care of that problem quickly. And you can see it's only 0.25% of their traffic, but it only costs 34 cents per click. And you can see the trend is actually up on it. These are great keywords here. How to get rid of fleas. 24 cents. Traffic is almost 1%. 60,000 in volume every month. That's an amazing keyword, how to get rid of fleas. How to get rid of cockroaches. And the list goes on and on. You can see quality keywords come from SEMrush, and we haven't even really scratched the surface here. We're just on Terminix. I mean, we've got Orkin, we've got Cook's Pest Control, we've got different terms we can type in, and we're still not even done with me showing you what else we can do with this site. So that's the domain analytics side. Competitors, obviously, it's going to give you a list of the competitors, but since we've got SpyFu, we pretty much already know who the competitors are. It's one of the nice little things about doing them in that order. You go through what ads work and get your ad copy and keywords that are working for call-only ads. You go to SpyFu and find direct competitors. Then you come into SEMrush and you start laying out better keywords. Then you can wrap it up with something like Uber Suggest and get very specific and high intent keywords from all of these phrases and specific keywords. So now we're going to jump into keyword analytics, and this is actually where we can find related keywords, which is great. So if I want to type in, for example, flea bites, seems to be a popular one. It's going to return a bunch of results for flea bites, and you can see misspellings. Obviously, the intent is still very high or closely related to the intent of flea bites. And again, the intent is not high enough. It's related, these terms are related enough, but the intent is not high enough, so maybe we want to type in get rid of fleas. And so when we start typing in these things from Ubersuggest, we get pretty interesting keywords. How to get rid of fleas, getting rid of fleas in the house, how get rid of fleas without the two, how to get rid of flea, singular. And you can see the volume on these, even though this is the main one of 60,500 a month, and the competition's only 25%, 24%, cost per click is only $1.35. Some of these actually are being paid more for, and the reason is because the intent is just as high, and you can see there's not too many searches on these as well. Here's a great keyword, getting rid of fleas. $5.42 on the cost. 45% competition, not too bad. And so here's another way for you to get keywords, so the related keywords. And there's a ton of keywords that you can go through from all the suggestions you've gotten from your keyword list from other keyword tools. Now, one of the really cool tools from SEMrush is something that's actually new. It's in beta, and it's called SEO Keyword Magic. Now, this tool right here is pretty awesome because I can use a phrase like get rid of fleas, and watch the results that I get back for this. I get back all the keywords that I can sort through. So for example, remedies, if I want to exclude remedies, which I do because that's not what I'm looking for, I just type it in there and there goes the keywords. It edits automatically. You can see the volume, the keyword difficulty, which that's mainly an SEO thing, the cost per click, you see how low that is, and the competition is extremely low. So how to get rid of fleas is a great keyword to target in on for high volume and low competition when it comes to the cost per click as well. Now keep in mind, no platform, I don't care if it's SEMrush, I don't care if it's SpyFu, What Ads Work, no platform is going to have exact estimates on cost per click. These are best educated guess ballparks, and they're pretty daggone accurate. They're just not 100% because the only way for these platforms to ever be 100% on what Google is actually charging is for them to pretty much hack Google and that's not going to happen. So understand that these estimates are what I would call relative. So if you notice, a lot of keywords that we looked at initially in the keyword planner for pest control in a previous training video, you'll notice that a lot of those keywords were $18, $20 a click, and if you look here, these are listed at $2.34, $1.89, $2.80, $3.48. You can see they're significantly lower relative to or compared to the keyword planner estimates and bids, and that's because these keywords are basically what that's saying is these keywords are cheaper. Okay, they're more cost effective, and you can see the great part about that by using these keyword tools is that the volume is there. The volume is there in order to get impressions. And when you get impressions, you get clicks. And when you get clicks, you get calls. And when you get calls, you get leads. And when you get leads, you get paid. Now everything else in SEMrush we're not going to cover because we're not really going to be using it. We don't set up projects. We're not involved in the SEO end of these keyword tools, not even with SEMrush. We will be doing a very basic amount and minimum amount of SEO, which I will show you in the coming training on website build out, but we will not need to use any of these keyword and SEO tools for that website build out. So again, this is everything you need to